y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. I'm Susan, your hostess. We're looking at our Rose of Sharon tree, bush, whatever you want to call it. They are absolutely gorgeous this year. Got a little bee down here working. I'm going to see if I can catch him or her. There he goes. Our neighbor's little bees down there working. I don't want to disturb him, but aren't these flowers beautiful? The bees are actually up in the flowers. There's one working right there, just full of pollen. And so they pollinate, and they'll share that pollen in other places along the way. Welcome to Grow Big 24, hosted by Grow Big TV, Scarecrow 24, hosted by me, the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch, Garden Tour Club, hosted by Gail Southern Living, Weird Container Growing, hosted by Gail Southern Living, and Store to Garden Grow, hosted by Blackberry Rock Homestead and Luann's Kitchen. We are at the Big Grow Big TV plot, and y'all, we have some things going on in this little garden bed. You may have seen some of it. These are the watermelon radishes. Let me see if I can get my hand down in here and let you see. Looky there. Looky there. There's a big radish there. And they are doing so good. Can't wait to start pulling a few to eat, but we're trying to let them grow because there's a $100 prize for each one of these beds for first prize. And then after that, there is seeds for the second and third prizes. This is the zucchini, the Black Beauty zucchini. And I've got a couple of leaves out here that are turning yellow. So I'm hoping it's because it's been so hot outside. But we have little zucchinis forming, y'all, all in there. We also companion planted this with sugar and cream corn and poling lima beans. So they're going to grow up. Hope the corn gets a little bit taller. And that should be a great companion plant for that. And we planted some beautiful marigolds in there. And I need to move my spinner because it's right in the flowers. So we're going to put it over here where it can spin with the wind. It took a little while for the Dr. Weitch's yellow tomatoes to take off, but now they're getting about 2.5 feet tall, and they are really growing. These are companion planted with onions, the store to table onions, and some marigolds, and we should get a good crop out of these. I'm actually going to come back in and add some more soil to these rings because the soil has settled. We went and bought some more of the horse manure compost, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Show you how rich it really is for the garden. And this is the red beets, and this is Detroit dark red beets. Let me get down here and take a look-see because I haven't looked in a few days, but I do believe we have some beets growing in here. And all I'm seeing right now are stems, but we know that there's a beet right there that's growing. So we do have some beets growing in there. This is also companion planted with some marigolds. And I've got 2 of these lemon eucalyptus that need to be planted. Desperately needs to be planted. Sitting over here. The reason you put these in your garden area is they keep the wasp away so you don't get stung. And I have been stung several times last year. So I wanted to get these, but they will grow 60 feet tall if you plant them directly in the ground. But if you plant them in a planter, they will get about 5 feet tall. So we're over here with our Peter peppers. Peter peppers have gotten eaten up. I've got a Peter pepper right there. This one is actually doing very well. I've got some cilantro, companion planted with cilantro, sweet basil, and marigolds. So I've got marigolds in here, but I did go back in and reseed. And I've got another Peter pepper over here. You can see it kind of got ate up. But I went ahead and threw some more seed in here because I want my Peter peppers this year. And I've got some weeds to get out. We don't want the weeds to take over our plants. Especially these, because these spread everywhere. So that is the Peter peppers. This next bed is the sunflowers, and I did companion plant with some marigolds. I'm not too worried about the weeds taking over the bed. And we have got some sunflowers about ready to open up. So I wanted to come around on this side so you could actually see up close. That's what it looks like, the sunflower. These are mammoth gray stripe sunflowers. And so this is the Grow Big 24 plot. Now, before I get back to the other soil that we just purchased, this horse manure compost has biochar in it. It has lots of microbes, microbials crawling around and doing their thing. And it is full of earthworms. It is very dark and rich, as you can see. It is a beautiful soil to work with. But you want to wait about 2 years to let it compost down because you don't want it to be too hot and burn your plants. Our strawberries have died back, y'all. They're not producing anymore for this season, but we do have them companion planted with garlic or onions. I don't remember what I put in there, and any strawberries that I'm seeing are going directly back into the soil so that they can start making roots or rootstock. So they are just about done here. We did dump out some potatoes. You will see that in a clip shortly. What did we get out of that? And all of this soil is going to be picked up and put into our fire rings and planters. So we have red potatoes in the far blue container there, and we're going to let it completely die back before we dump them. My husband filled up these are sweet potatoes, and he also added some more soil to that sweet potato. So we have 3 buckets of sweet potatoes and 1 bucket of red potatoes left. Dump those red potatoes in the first bucket there. Here we go. Will we get anything is the question. All that straw that we put in there has broke down. We're getting some little potatoes. All this soil is going to be recycled as well. Let's see what we get out of this one. There's another potato. We're getting some little potatoes. Not as many as we hoped, huh?
No. That's it. Wet.
We still have another bucket. We're going to let it go for another week or so. There's a potato.
Too wet. Yes.
He's thinking the soil might have been too wet.
It's got worms all in it.
It's got a lot of worms in it, he said.
That's it. Sweet potato too bad. See any more?
Mm-mm. We're going to recycle this soil and put it in some buckets. Raised beds. It's full of worms. So that was the first the first blue barrel. About 5 pounds of potatoes there. We're going to allow those to dry out. It takes about 7 days. You need to keep the temperature at about 100 degrees. You do not remove the soil from your potatoes. When you're storing your potatoes, you need to leave the soil intact.
I figure we do better than that. The other one does better. It's growing a little better as well.
Yeah, that one actually had more. This one actually has more potatoes in it than that one did. And the purple bucket back there is turmeric planted with some bush beans and some poling bush lima beans. And we have a little friend that visited us. Hang on a second. We have a little dragonfly out here. Look at there. I don't mind the dragonflies. They eat mosquitoes. So on this end of the straw bales, we have pimento peppers. We actually have 8 of those. And then on the rest of our straw bales, we have bell peppers. And yes, we have bell peppers growing. Y'all, they are growing. Look at there. Bell peppers. I've also thrown some other plants in here. I threw in some marigolds because something was trying to eat at my pepper plants. I think it was a little bunny rabbit. And yes, this will get weeds, let me tell you. But I also have a tansy down there that helps keep the mosquitoes down. And I have some other plants that need to be actually taken out of those little containers and planted. So this is going to be very, very good. There's also onions companion planted with these peppers. Our tomatoes are starting to come in. And y'all, I've got to get out here and tie this poor one up. It is just loaded down with tomatoes. So we're going to get out here and we're going to be pulling some tomatoes and staking as long as it's not hot outside. And we have tomatoes. Now I usually start pulling them when they're starting to turn and let them ripen in the house because they've already got all the flavor and everything in the tomatoes. And I don't want critters coming in at night and doing something like this to one of my tomatoes. So this tomato is actually going to get tossed. So I want to keep my tomatoes in a good shape because I'm going to be canning soon. I've already picked a gallon bucket of tomatoes. And what I'm doing with them is I'm adding them to the freezer as they ripen. So they're just at the peak of ripeness. They're not overripe, they're not underripe, and they are beautiful. While I'm down here, let's look at the cabbage. Y'all remember the cabbages were getting eat up? Well, Adrian over at Indiana Backyard Gardener, my brain just had a fart, told me to cut off all the damaged leaves so that the cabbage could focus on making the cabbage heads. So that's what I did. And y'all, again, with the weeds, Let's see if we can get some soil back down around that onion or garlic. Oh, that one's just going to have to stay. I'm not going to try to tear it out. But I've got this companion plant with garlic, onions, dill, and thyme. So let's look at the next one. So these are starting to look really good. Again, that's the dill. And the thyme and the cabbage all seem to be doing well in this one. And I still haven't planted that poor little lily. Let's look at the bell peppers on this side. I've got a couple of good sized peppers coming on. Can y'all see that pepper in there? Maybe I need a different angle. Can you see that pepper in there? Look at those peppers, y'all. We're going to be harvesting them before too long. My Christmas cactus looks like it's getting ready to bloom, y'all. It may bloom because it's outside. It's getting different nutrients and stuff from the rain. And my other house plants are doing fine out here. Flowers are doing fine as well. And there is that chicken and hen and baby chicks. I get that wrong all the time. My husband came out here and pulled some of this. We're thinking it now. It is Virginia creeper because he's allergic to poison ivy and he did not break out from it. I break out from it, so it's got to go. This garden needs a lot of attention. I have not been able to get out here because we've had sweltering heat. Our heat index got up to 103 yesterday with a temperature of 96 degrees. It's actually going to be hotter today than it was yesterday, but we are expecting some rain for a little bit of relief. But the onions are doing very, very well. The ginger's doing well. And I'm going to get out here and I am going to clean these beds out and try to salvage what I can out of them. This one looks like it's been taken over by weeds. It has one little onion hanging on. And there is my other chicken and hens. It's got some weeds in it as well. I don't think we got any beets out of this. I'm going to clean this out this week. But I got a volunteer marigold in there or two, so I'm going to leave them in the bed along with the asparagus that we planted. We planted that bed in seed this year. And my carrots are starting to die back. I need to come out here and see if we actually got any carrots. If not, we'll replant those in the fall. So they're starting to die back. And this is my established asparagus bed, y'all. It's got fronds all the way up. And then I've got some broccoli growing in that bed with the onions. That bed seems to be doing the best with the onions and the broccoli. My little weird container growing area here, y'all. The sink is actually doing better since it's been no rain. I see a little bit of that thyme coming up. So hopefully that will fill out, or I'm sorry, rosemary. That was rosemary in there. I walked the fence line yesterday and y'all, we're starting to get some blackberries. One or two here or there, we're getting some blackberries. So I'm excited about that. I'm not going to walk the whole row today with you. This is the horse manure compost that we received yesterday. It's absolutely full of life. It's got biochar in it. It has microbials, and it also has earthworms. This is going to fill up some more of our fire rings. I think we got 4 scoops yesterday. My husband added the fence because the chickens were kicking it out on the ground. That's not where we want it to go. We are now in my victory garden. I have named this garden the Victory Garden. After World War II, or during World War II, a lot of families began to produce their own food so that they could survive and cut costs where they could. This row here is watermelon. I have replanted some popped pumpkin seed. I'm hoping that they will come up. And this row is cantaloupe. And so hopefully no critters got in here and ate my seed up. This one is doing really, really well. But I did get out here and replant, and I've got 3, 4 fire rings back here that we have to fill yet and get them planted, and I'm going to plant some wildflowers in them. I've pretty much planted everything I'm planning on planting. We have some beans. I believe these are Indian woman beans. I may be mistaken. I didn't bring my paperwork out again. And I replanted the row that didn't come up with some coriabe. I don't know if it'll come up or not. I've never planted it, so I don't know if it's the wrong time of year or not. These are the banana peppers, both hot and mild, and I've got peppers out here to harvest already. And we companion planted this with some garlic, some of the elephant garlic and marigolds to kind of keep the critters away and to help the plants. We got that fire ring almost set up. We've got some more beans planted here. This area here didn't come up well either. We're thinking it was too much nitrogen because the chickens were over in this area before we planted. And we have a lot of weeds, y'all. I got to get out here and cut around. But I have cucumber plants coming up amongst the weeds, and I've got thyme planted here. These are black-eyed peas, and a lot of them didn't come up. We replanted. I also replanted some of the cucumber seeds, and they're starting to come up. I've got miniature hot peppers here, or the bouquet hot peppers, some people call them that. And then on this end we have sweet basil, and we have more of the cucumber seeds coming up. So hopefully this will bounce back. We've got some calendula there. This is sage, and that is tansy, and I think I planted some basil or something in the middle there. I'm not sure what I planted in there. I was throwing seeds, y'all. I have to be honest. Something ate that one up, and that was calendula as well. But hopefully it will come back. I'm going to come out here with some eggshells and put around all of this. And this one is French thyme. So that's that fire ring. These are my Abe Lincoln tomatoes planted with sweet basil and marigolds. And of course, one of my plants got torn up, but I think it's going to bounce back. So that is that right there. We've got to do some weeding. Oh, look, y'all. Isn't that a sweet little moth? Oh, my goodness. That's a beautiful little moth. My husband said he's going to come out here and weed eat, and I said, not without me being out here, because I don't want you cutting down my plants. This is tansy, again, right there. I have a tea tree in the middle. We have some more sage. And this one is St. John's wort. This trellis is my Louisiana purple pod green beans. We've replanted the yellow squash, and I've got 2 squash, it looks like, coming up. No, 3 squash coming up. So we might get some squash. This is wild blackberries right there. I think we're going to get that out of the way. And so we're going to get some beans and stuff out of this, I hope. These are, get my brain working. I'll have to write it in. I can't remember the name of the tomatoes again. But we did also companion plant these with the marigolds and with the sweet basil back there. And we're getting buds. So we're going to be getting tomatoes off this soon. And they're looking very, very healthy. Let me get around this pole here. These are provider beans, and I mixed in some royal burgundy to kind of fill in where the other beans did not pop up. So we'll have some full rows of beans. They may be mixed. I don't care. They're going to be delicious. We have okra right here, and we'll definitely be coming out and getting some of these weeds off in the evening time. I also threw out a bunch of herb seed. I think this is calendula here, and sunflower seed. So hopefully we'll get something out of this little area down here. It looks like mostly the sunflower seeds have come up. So this is the end of the garden tour. So we're going to take a look at our victory garden from this end. And there it is, folks. Y'all, I almost forgot our corn patch. We have corn and bush llamas planted all along here. And I don't mind the weeds with them. The bush beans, I'll probably try to cut around them a little bit, get the weeds down with some hand trimmers. But we're going to have a little bit of corn, hopefully, grow. And this one, I don't know if I've got any beans in there or not, because the weeds have taken over. We'll get what we get out of this garden. But I'm happy to be planting in this area again, because this was really our best garden area to plant in. Got an egg. And here's our sunflower patch, y'all. Lots and lots of sunflowers. Be blessed, everybody. And thank you for watching.